How you doing? Here's a brief union update for the week of Monday, June 22nd. I'm your host and chapter president, Jana Blunt. Thanks for tuning in. Our news this week includes a handful of reminders, a quick look at our proposals, and 2 requests we have of you. Before we begin, can you tell me what amount of our union dues goes towards politics and elections? As always, you can subscribe to this channel and even activate new video notifications if you don't want to miss our updates. Other resources still available to you are my direct email updates, our private Facebook group, and our shared Google Drive. Links for each of these are in the video description. I've got another lunchtime countywide worksite meeting. It's coming. It's not this Monday, but the Monday after, so June 29th, which is next week. I've extended it this time from 1 to 2 hours, 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., so hopefully each of you can swing through. The Zoom invitation will arrive this week via email in an official 10 to 1 communication, and I'll also create an event to be scheduled in our Facebook group. So please join us for lunch, even if it's just to listen. Participation's entirely up to you. I'm even going to have some built-in confidential polls that you'll be able to take to get your feedback. And in case you haven't checked it out, here's some of the resources, again, that are available to you in our shared Google Drive. Some of the most recent additions, as you can see on the bottom, are each department's safety mitigation checklists, as well as all of the county's recent adopted budget documents and presentation slides. It's not listed here, but I've also added National Labor Relations Act, employee rights. So check it out. You know who your union field rep is, right? You better know. So, are you tired of my proposal updates yet? This week, I'm just going to update you on how we're kind of vibing right now. Frankly, our chapter leadership is disappointed with the lack of willingness on the part of the county to move even a single footstep towards a resolution. Our chapter leadership has maintained an uncomfortable level of flexibility, of cooperation, and of patience. We've even gone out of our way to acknowledge that the county is facing budget concerns. We've asked the county during each meeting to just be creative with us. It's one thing to decline a proposal, but it's another thing to be completely unwilling to have a conversation. Ultimately, we don't feel that county management is taking enough initiative. They're passing inappropriate decisions on to department management, namely in how safety mitigation is enacted, but also in telework options. So all I'm going to be able to tell you at this point, because this is public, is please remain patient as you've always been. Thanks for doing so much up until this point when it comes to being patient and reaching out. We're just going to need your support as we move forward. And as always, we're going to keep you posted. What do the initials U.L.P stand for, and what do they mean? So if you can hear my voice right now, I need 2 things from you, and you specifically. First, I need you to take a look at the safety checklist that your department management completed. It's short. Let me know if you have any concerns, see any omissions, notice it's inaccurate. And then second, I just need you to shoot me a quick note at my Gmail address below to let me know how things are going at your work site, regardless of whether you're even there right now. Do you have worries? How's the communication? What's going on in your neighborhood? Don't make the mistake of passing up on any opportunity because you know your coworker already hollered at me. What if they missed something? What makes you think that their feedback's going to be identical to yours? It's better to have too much information than not enough. All right, let's get these pop quiz answers. Do you know who your union field rep is? The quick answer is either Diego or Michael. Each of these dudes are willing to help, but only one of them is actually assigned to your work site to keep things organized. It also gives them the chance to establish long-term relationships with members and their management. It makes things easier for everyone. So if you're at the county center, including the jail, the sheriff, La Plaza, and Shanate, there's an overwhelming chance that Diego's your dude. But if you're at the lakes or if you're downtown, Michael's probably got you. Diego has most airport offices, as well as the outer regions, north to Healdsburg, west to Guerneville, south to Petaluma, east to Sonoma. But going back to County Center, Michael does typically assist HSD pollen because the pollen and downtown economic assistance offices tend to work in tandem. There's also an exception to Michael's downtown turf, which would be ag open space, which is Diego's spot. So long story short, just drop me a line if you'd like confirmation in writing and I can get that to you. I'd hope to think that you've met them both, but at the very least, you've met your dude. Okay, how much of our union dues are being diverted toward politicians and elections? If you weren't already aware, not a single penny. Do you hear this? None of your union dues are ever used for political reasons. The only way that you can contribute toward anything political at the union is if you're like me and you contribute to COPE. Any amount you contribute is a result of your separate decision to do so. It's very easy to check how. Go to the employee self-service page, log in, and at the landing page, you would choose either on the left-hand side, deposit pay stubs or detailed pay statements. You can see it either way. Doing that is going to result in your itemized check stub. And these two items, they're deducted separately. Your general union dues and COPE contributions. But what even is COPE? COPE stands for Committee on Political Education. It's a group that exists in all unions and many other types of labor organizations. Our COPE is a group of SEIU members. Some of us are still working, some of us are retired, and we're all in the group voluntarily. We're all very different people. We are obviously different ages. We've got far different backgrounds from each other. We hold diverse views on most political issues. We meet every month, and COPE just generally engages in what's going on in our community. That's what we do. But why is SEIU even involved in political and legislative work? You already know that our negotiation team works very hard at the bargaining table during contract negotiations. But not only do many things affect our work conditions outside of our contracts, but the individuals who hold executive power over whether our demands are granted are elected officials. We're public sector employees, right? That means that our work lives are deeply influenced and controlled by elected leaders. If you've ever asked yourself, all right, why must my union be political? There's two pieces to that answer. First off, everything is political. Ice cream is political, okay? More importantly, though, when we vote for a local county supervisor, as county employees, we are hiring our own bosses. Why would we not want to be involved in the process that leads to that? The job of COPE is to drop personal differences at the door and join together toward our common goal of ensuring union-friendly candidates are elected. That's our only goal that we share. Sometimes we're successful, sometimes we're not, but none of the work has anything to do with how we personally feel about candidates outside of this goal. And none of the work that we do has anything to do with partisanship. So how's the money used? Every single COPE dollar is earmarked specifically for our on-the-ground political and legislative goals. Every dollar spent by COPE requires a voting process beforehand, and it all goes towards delegates, bills, and causes that strengthen our position as union members. So who do we support? SEIU and unions in general support union members first and foremost. It would be silly and self-harming to do anything different. So what that means is when anti-union county supervisors are elected, they drag the other four in their direction. It's bad. I've seen it, and we're stuck with these folks for a long time. So whomever makes it to that level, again, they wield control over our wages, over the existence of our positions as jobs existing, our benefits, our retirement plan. Why in God's name would our union ever decide that being uninvolved in this process is a good idea? We have to fight hard at the negotiating table, and we have to fight hard at every election. Our endorsement process is entirely member-driven. Even union staff and union management is uninvolved in this process, and they are not part of this group. It's just us. and our deliberation is unpaid, outside of work hours, and exists to support only pro-union, pro-worker candidates and initiatives. So just like our union membership, we at COPE are 100% bipartisan, tripartisan, quadpartisan. We're all over the political compass. COPE only endorses candidates based on their support of our union and on their support of expanding access to union membership in general, but never their party affiliation. So how much money does it cost to even support this crucial fund? The coolest part about COPE, any amount you want it to cost. COPE is entirely voluntary, so you choose the level at which you'd like to support our work. If you haven't signed up yet for some reason, or if you have questions about COPE, as always, just reach out to me and I will get you the information you need. For those members who are already investing in our best weapon against anti-union leadership, I need to personally thank you. I'm thanking you as a fellow union member, but also as a county employee. The more that I've learned about what COPE accomplishes over the years, the more I've realized that contributing to COPE is just as important as being a union member. So what does U.L.P stand for, and what does it mean? U.L.P stands for unfair labor practice, and this is a very important thing for each of us to be able to identify when it happens. It's anything that the employer or the union does that's prohibited in the National Labor Relations Act. There's a good amount of actions that neither party is permitted to take. And again, it's important to be able to identify when the employer commits an unfair labor practice. After all, it's what allowed us to strike in 2015. Back then, the county repeatedly failed to bring anyone to the negotiation table who actually possessed any authority to grant or deny our proposals. So by doing this, the county was refusing to bargain in good faith. So now you know what U.L.P stands for, unfair labor practice. And maybe in a future video, I'll explain more about it and the act itself. So before we go, I just wanted you to know what was in the pipeline for future videos, what's been worked on. I'm obviously going to be providing some updates about our SDI, or State Disability Insurance Committee. We've got another meeting this week, so I wanted to wait on giving you any update until we have more information. We want to give you an update on our folks at the fairgrounds who are undergoing layoffs and how they're doing. We also wanted to provide you I want to provide you information about the union in general, what the structure of SEIU is, what the history is, what it's about, where our union dues are going, and what SEIU does for us other than what you think. And then, just as importantly for me, I wanted to kind of bring you more human interest stories about ourselves and each other, what it's like to be an extra help employee, a day in the life, a month in the life, and then what it's like to work at each department. It's going to be nice to reach out to as many of you as possible and get your experiences. And then lastly, just general education. I wanted to put a video together on class studies. I get a lot of inquiries about this, what a reclass is, whether you qualify, what happens, how long it takes, what the results are, why you can't have one, why you can, things like that. I wanted to go over all of the different employee leaves. I have a great document already that explains all of those in detail, but having a video about it is also can be helpful at times. And then, of course, our retirement plan, our pensions, why they don't have COLAs, things like that, and what our plans are in the future for that. All right, guys. Thanks as always. I hope to hear from each of you on how things are going. If you don't want to look through my shared Google folder to find your department's mitigation checklist, that's fine. Just email me and I'll send you yours. Thanks to each of you who've already reached out. And thanks for your patience with my replies. Please continue to hang in there. And I hope you join me for lunch a week from this Monday, June 29th, 11:30 to 1:30. Keep an eye on your emails. I hope to see you at that meeting.